everybody. It is Lori Bradley here in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is Wednesday, May 14th, I think. I'm ashamed to say I don't even really know the date. We are here for lunch with Lori today, and I am using the beautiful gallery suite, which is probably my favorite suite in the whole catalog, the new annual catalog. So we're going to make 3 different cards. They all look quite different. I've used both of the actually, I'm not using one of the stamp sets. I was about to tell a fib. The stamp sets in there's 2 bundles. There are gems that are really pretty. We've used those last week. There's another one. Embossing folder. I couldn't think of the word. Embossing folder with Damask pattern, which is really pretty, and I've used that on 2 of our cards today. So let's get going. Don't forget that there is a couple of things. Make sure you opt in for Stampin Rewards if you're placing orders. That program has started, and you get 10% back to use on the next order that you make for every order over $20. So make sure that you opt in for that. If you place your order on my website, if you place a $50 order, you also get a fun fold class in the mail. And we do a Zoom night, and if you can't make the Zoom, I send you a video. So every little fun thing is an added bonus. And then there's also the Demonstrator Starter Kit, which is the best deal in the whole catalog always. But right now, if you spend $99 to buy that starter kit, it's $165 that you get to choose for free, or included in your $99. And you get a paper pumpkin kit and a couple of other things. And then any order you place after that while you're active, you get a 20% discount. So 20% off plus 10% rewards on the original price. So it's a great deal. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But for right now, let's make some cards. We're, like I said, going to use the beautiful gallery suite. And my first card is a card that I got as a swap. I participate in demonstrator swaps pretty regularly, and this one uses actually, let me show you. There's 2 different stamp sets in the suite. There's the Gallery Blooms and the Beautiful Motifs. The Beautiful Motifs is the one with the words, the sentiments from all of the things, and the Gallery Blooms is the images, the weeds, which I call the weeds. They're not really weeds, but that's what I like to call them. And the flowers. And then the dies, the Motifs dies are really cool. I used 2 of them, but they're the die cuts, and they will also cut so that there's a little bit of a flap, so it doesn't cut all the way through. Very cool. And then the Gallery Blooms, I didn't actually bring the Gallery Blooms over here. All right, so we won't be using those anyway. Get my laptop set up here really quick because it's not showing up. There we go. All right, so we've got the Gallery Blooms, and we are using the brand new cloud cover ink, or not ink, paper, cardstock, and then we're going to use the Secret Sea as well. So those are 2 of the brand new in colors, and we're going to start with a cloud cover card base. So I'm going to fold that in half. Got that. And then we have Basic Beige. Basic Beige is kind of the neutral that goes with the Designer Series paper. That's what I didn't show you. Designer Series paper that goes with our suite. And I'll show you that in just a minute when we use it. And so to save space, you all know that I like to conserve paper. And so I've cut my stylish shaped circle that I'm going to use right out of the back of my panel, because when I put this cloud cover panel over the top, and I need to trim it off. When I put that over the top, it covers it right up. And so we didn't waste any extra paper. This needs to be 5 1/8. I forgot to trim the ends, and I remembered that on the other one. Okay. Now, we're going to glue our embossing foldered paper onto the Basic Beige panel. Do that really quick. That's the easy part. The embossing folder is very pretty. It is kind of an old-fashioned, I think you can see it, old-fashioned, almost almost a grandma wallpaper sort of look, but it's really pretty. Not that your grandma's wallpaper wasn't pretty, but. All right, so we've got our piece right here. And we can go ahead and glue that down onto our card as well because we're gonna put that flat. My other pieces are raised, and so I wanna make sure that my card isn't too thick to go through the mail. All right, so I can set that aside for just a little bit. Now, for our piece right here, I'm using one of the beautiful motif stamps, and I'm going to use Basic Beige ink on the Basic Beige cardstock, so it's just going to be a tone on tone. When I first did it yesterday, I thought, oh, this is the wrong color. It's going to look a little bit green, and that's okay. That's just what the ink color looks like. We're going to let it dry, and it'll turn out to be just fine. See, it looks a little scary. Isn't that a little scary? It's green. I promise you that it will tone down. So then I've got that piece. And then my other piece that I need to stamp, I've just cut a little piece here, and I'm gonna do thank you for everything. So I'm gonna stamp that in the secret C. I'm gonna stamp that right in the middle of that rectangle. I have to stand up to see these things. All right. Thank you for everything. Now I can put my ink away. Not too scary. All right, I have die cut 2 of the leaves and I'm gonna call it the weed just because. Oh, hi Monica. I hope that you're settled in your new place, and I'm glad that you're back to watch. I've been missing you. So we're gonna go ahead and push out all the pieces from my weed. And I have put adhesive sheet on the back of this. So when I actually put it on, I don't have to use tiny drops of glue onto my pieces. So you can see I've got the adhesive sheet starts here, and I'm going to peel it, but I'm gonna put my navy one on first, actually the secret C. And just start at the bottom, peel that sticker off. So we're making a sticker is what we're actually doing, so that we didn't have to put glue. Peels off just like that. We throw that other piece away, and then I'm gonna put that, let's see, let's go right about here in the sticky part. Makes it stick right on there. Now let's do the same with the weed. We're gonna do the same thing and put it over, just a little bit. I want my weeds to kind of end up right about the same spot. Okay, now we're gonna put our circle, our stylish shaped circle, onto our card front with dimensionals. I'm just gonna put a few of those around the outside. Actually, let me grab the big ones. Otherwise, you will be here all day watching me. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining me. I hope you're feeling a little better today. Making some progress. Of course, you might be laying down, I'm not sure. All right, so I've got my dimensional backs off. I'm gonna put that right on, let's see, let's angle it just a little bit. So then we've got our pieces. All right, now I'm gonna put this right across here. And I'm going to put it so that it ends right about where my pieces are. But I'm going to put adhesive on this end, and then a tiny dimensional on this end so that it is flat on the card. Right about, there's no right or wrong. This is just where I decided to put it. And that way this part is flat when I glue it, and then underneath here is the dimensional, so it makes it even with that circle. Okay, one of the other items in this particular suite is the Basic Beige polyester ribbon, classic ribbon, and it looks a little bit like linen. It's very easy to use. Of course, you know that when I try to do it, it won't look easy to use, but I promise that it really is. Ouch, laying down, I'm sorry. I hope that, Just got to get this over with, right? All right. So I'm going to make my bow. I'm just going to do a little bow, and I'm going to tie it while it's still on the roll here, and then I'm going to trim it off. Look at that. I did it on the first try, mostly. All right, and I'm going to glue dot that right here, right at the corner of my sentiment, right over where the weeds meet. And I'm going to use a glue dot. So I've got my glue dot. It's a pretty big knot, so I'm just going to open up the glue dots, and I'm going to lay my bow right down on there. And then put it right where I want it to go. So I've got my bow. Now, this needs a little bit more embellishment. So I'm going to use the pressed flower motifs, and I love these. I think they're so pretty. I'll hold it up for you to see. It looks like little flowers right in, pressed into the gem. All right, let's do one there, and then maybe a couple of others, just for. There we go. All right, so there is card number 1, and I'll show you. There's the basic beige ink right there. It does tone down so that it's almost exactly the same color as our cardstock. All right, card number 1. Let's do card number 2. Card number 2, I'm going to use the designer series paper. The designer series paper is so pretty. I can show you a couple of pieces. I tried to pull them out, and then I realized I was showing multiples of the same. There's only a couple that I'm like, ugh. The Lost Lagoon, that also kind of looks like the Grandma's wallpaper, but it matches that embossing folder perfectly, exactly the same. All right, so then we've got this one. It's just kind of a hand-drawn, watercolory look flower. Oh goodness. The ocean, the edge of the ocean with the boats, I think that's my favorite one, and I didn't even use it today. Shame on me. We have the hand-drawn flowers, which match the flowers in the Gallery Bloom stamp set. Okay. And we've got, oh my goodness, I should have pulled these out. I'm so sorry. A pretty scene with a lake and some mountains, and then more of a wintry look tree. The flower bowl, which is pretty, okay, I think, no, it's not. I was gonna say, now there's one piece of designer series paper that is not my favorite. Oh, we already looked at that one. There's that one. That's the pretty, all right, there's one more. And you would know why I didn't like the back of it, and you'll know that I will never use the back of it. Let me see, where is it? Okay. This one, where we can just stamp right onto that designer series paper. I have yet to figure out what the map has to do with anything, so I probably won't be using that one. This is my favorite with the blue roses. Love that. And then that's got a nice subtle pattern on the back of that one. If you were watching my video last week for my fun fold, the chop off a piece and make a bridge, that was the paper that I used. So this one with the roses. I mean, this would be beautiful on a scrapbook page. And put your pictures around it. And then that one looks a little bit, all right, I can't find the piece that I'm not excited about. Let me see, you flip really quick. See if I can find it, and you will know. Oh, here it is. All right, it's the boat one. Sorry, it's the boat. We've got the boat, love the boat. It's my favorite. Turn it over, and I'm not even gonna tell you what I think that looks like. So, all right, so that's my least favorite and my favorite piece of designer series paper in this pack. All right, let's make a split front card. Okay, we're gonna use basic beige cardstock. I'll go ahead and pull that out, get that ready. Got our basic beige card base. Fold that in half. Yeah, Pam, it's my favorite paper in the catalog. It really is, it's so pretty. All right, and we're gonna go ahead, I went ahead and ran this through our embossing folder. I did this one sideways instead of vertically. I'm gonna put that on our front. there. And it's pretty flat, so you can easily use regular adhesive on this. You don't have to pop it up on dimensionals. All right, now we have our 2 pieces of black cardstock, the basic black cardstock, and I'm going to put those, they're going to be on our front like this. There's going to be a little space between, but I have to cut my designer series paper, and I chose this one because it looks like an old-fashioned, I feel like I remember a drawing that looked like this of a school that was in my hometown. Like the school went away. I don't even think it was open when I started school in like 1975. So, that's just what the scene reminds me of. So I'm going to cut this, and it kind of has a square. I'm not sure if you can see the rectangle shape around it, but I'm going to cut it right along the bottom of the fence. I'm gonna have some extra pieces, so you can save those for later. I really like that on the back. We can use those strips for something else. And we're gonna turn it, and we're gonna cut it at 3 3/4. We want it to be 3 3/4. We don't need all that sky. Okay. And then again, there's my other piece, and I'm going to cut right down the edge of that one. All right, now I need it to be 4 3/4. So we're gonna lose a little bit of our tree. If you want to show more of that tree, we can scoot it over and then trim it back on the other side. But I'm gonna start with 4 3/4. There we go. Goodness, that truck going by is really loud. Sorry about that. All right, now I need to cut this into 2 different pieces, and we're just gonna split our seam. So this piece is 4 3/4. I want to cut it at 1 3/4. So it's right about where the fence ends. So I have 2 pieces. Okay. Now here's the wish me luck part. And if you're nervous about this, you could always add a die cut piece if you wanted to. But I'm going to stamp directly on this paper. I'm going to do my just a note right up there above that house. So I'm just going to use Memento Black. Gonna get that. Hope I get it straight, right? Okay. Just a note right there. Okay. Whew. It makes me all nervous. Okay, so now we're going to take our pieces and we're going to glue these onto the black panels. I did it with a tight border so that it wasn't too big, so we could still see some of that patterned background from our embossing folder, and also still have more of our pattern of our designer series paper. And since I'm using black, I'm not going to put those pressed flowers on this one, but I think you could if you wanted to. But I think I'm just going to leave it. That's just a simple note that this piece of paper is pretty simple. So, all right, now I'm going to add a little bit extra interest, and I am going to pop those up on dimensionals. I'm going to use the black dimensionals because our paper is black, so we want to hide that as much as possible. All right, my fun fold for this week is kind of a cool card, and that'll be shown Friday on my YouTube channel. And I use this paper as well. I use another pattern of that. So be sure to check that out or on my YouTube channel. All right, so we have our black dimensionals. They won't show. I could use this paper all day long, I think. And actually, it is my this month's card club. So if you are interested in card club, I will send out a notice about that. I think I'm going to play with my dates a little bit. Travel is going to get the best of me this month, I think. And next, we are gone a lot. We have vacation, and we have football camps, and we have Actually, we have a couple of those, so it's a little bit crazy this summer. All right, just a note. There we go. All right, you can do that with any pattern and just split it. I was gonna switch it around and I thought, no, I'm gonna show you a different pattern for the third card. All right, so card number 3, we're gonna make a frame, and the dies for the frames are awesome, except I didn't, oh, here they are. I told you I didn't bring them over. I told a lie. All right, the frames for this particular die set, it makes 2 frames. So you run it through and it cuts both frames at the same time. So I'm only going to use the smaller frame. I'm going to use the small one. And I'm not going to use any of the other dies, but I'll show them to you. Really quick. They cut out the stamps that we used. Right. Yeah, Pam, I love that sailboat as well. I think it's so pretty. And it could be a sunrise, it could be a sunset, it could be a blue sky. It'd be really, really fun. All right, so I've got a Mossy Meadow card base. It's ready to go. My original card has basic beige, but I think I'm gonna add a little bit more contrast to it. So this one I'm gonna make with a Mossy Meadow base, just so it shows a little bit more. All right, confession, this is all of the linen thread I have in my possession. I have got to order some more. I almost had a heart attack when I realized that's all I had. All right, so I'm gonna glue I used that embossing folder 3 times because I love it. And it just adds to this pretty paper. All right, so I've got that. You guys can vote if you want. You can tell me whether you like the basic beige or the Mossy Meadow. But all right, now I've cut a piece of the designer series paper, and I cut it just so we could see some of the watercolory flowers and the mountain and the sky, and it fits. I made it so that it fits right behind this frame, and it's pretty much the same size, so I didn't have to be scared about the glue. So I'm actually going to put some liquid glue right around the back of the frame. Lay this piece right on it. That way I know the glue won't show. Ta-da. All right, now, so simple, makes a frame, makes it look like a framed picture. We're gonna use dimensionals on this one as well. Not figured out why all of a sudden my camera, when I do Facebook Lives, looks like it's farther away, and it's literally not even 12 inches away from my screen. So I'm not sure what I've done. So I apologize. I've got to figure that out. As I look on my computer, I'm like, it's really far. Okay, now we need a sentiment, and I cut a Stylish Shapes banner, and one of the sentiments in the Beautiful Motifs is thinking of you. I thought this looked like a nice thinking of you type paper. It could be for a man, a woman, a family. It could be lots of things, and I'm going to stamp that right in the middle of that. Might bit crooked, but I think if they're sad, they'll be just excited that they got a card, right? Okay, now I'm gonna put that on the front, probably right about here. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the first card. I'm gonna put glue on the side that'll be flat, and then a dimensional out here on the flag end. Okay. And then on the side, where that's gonna go. If you've been watching, there's many demonstrators at Disney World this week. Unfortunately, I'm not there, and that's okay. But I did hear the rumor that they announced the 2027 incentive trip to Costa Rica to an all-inclusive resort. So I'm excited about that, and I'm sure that we will talk more about that later, but that was the scoop that I got from today. All right, so I've got my little bow. So I'm here working while my friends are playing at Disney. Trying to make a bow, struggling as usual. All right, now let's use a glue dot again, except this time I'm not going to put my bow directly on it. I'm going to pull that glue dot off, and I'm going to roll it just a little bit so that it's thinner, because linen thread is very thin. And I'm going to put that, let's see, let's go this way. Put that right there, and then we need some gems, right? We need some more of these pretty flowers. That one looks like too much of a line. Should have thought about that. Let's put it on the frame. There we go. And then one on the bottom on the frame. All right. So here we have 3 different cards, completely different colors. The paper makes it look different, but it's all the same sweet. Just a note, thinking of you, and thank you for everything. And then later in the week, like I said, I will post my fun fold, and it actually has a different saying. So I'm looking forward to showing you that one as well. Thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to help, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great rest of your week.